Hey there, welcome to Tod Talks, the podcast where we're shining a light on brilliant local businesses making life better for families with little ones. I'm Bill from Toddler and in each episode we'll have a natter with one of our amazing partners, finding out what makes them tick, how they're helping parents, and how being part of the Toddler family is helping them thrive. So grab a cuppa, put your feet up if the kids will let you, and let's dive in. Hi Sophie, welcome to Tod Talks. As much as I don't formalise each episode, I always start with the guests introducing themselves and explaining where they're from in their own words.
Okay, morning Bill. Thanks ever so much for having us on today. It's really good to meet you. It's really good to be here. So looking forward to having a good conversation with you. My name's Sophie. I'm the marketing manager from Bekonscot Model Village and Railway. We're based over in Beaconsfield in Buckinghamshire. The village has been open since 1929 and it's very much a beautiful village and experience for children up to about the age of about sort of 7 to 8 to come and experience what life would have been like in the 1930s. So there's lots to see and discover, which I'm sure we'll talk about as we go through this today.
Well, I can absolutely agree with that. Like we went earlier in the month, we went with my girls, seven and 5. So exactly the age range that you're talking about, and they had the best day ever.
Excellent.
So from the moment we walked in and collecting our ticket from the ticket office, and then we went on we had to walk straight past the train that was instantly on offer, which was hard. So right, that's the treat for later. But it was really fun from the door.
Excellent.
That's
lovely to hear.
We've got a little bit of a reel coming out soon in hand with the podcast. And it was just from the moment we walked in, we felt this is calm, relaxed, and like from a parent's perspective, super safe.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's one of the things. So we welcome families during the more leisure times, so weekends, that sort of thing, but we also welcome school trips as well. And I think that's one of the things that people really enjoy about the village, that it enables the children just to have a little bit of freedom. So there's tons of different things to see. We've got 7 different model villages to explore. There's an amazing small railway train that runs all the way through the village with runs really frequently. As you say, there's a ride on trains. There's lots of different things for people to do. But one of the things that people do really like is because it's quite open, it's quite sort of flat, if you like, and you can see from everywhere that it's a really nice space to allow children just to have a little bit of independence and to head off and explore by themselves. Yeah,
so Florence and Aurora, they are desperate to do everything on their own at the moment. They don't need their parents. So it was, I went, do you know what? I feel quite comfortable here. And I said, let's test this. So I went and got the drinks. I went and got myself a cup of tea. I had a sit down and I left them for 5-10 minutes. And actually I started to go, should I go find them? And I went into the village to find them. And I said, right, girls, come and tell me what are the best. What do I need to see? What's the coolest thing here? And they could reel off pretty much everything in there. We've been there 5 minutes. And I was like,
excellent.
No, right, we need to take this in. Like there's no way you've done this. I can see what's available. And we walked through and we did the puppet trail.
Yeah.
And that took us through you couldn't miss a bit.
Excellent.
And it was really fun and engaging and it kept us all, right, we've got to find the next one, got to do this, got to do that. But it was, the girls were leading. I was there. They were showing me what was available.
Yeah, that's really lovely to hear.
And it was like, they were, Dad, we've got to wait because the train's coming. Like we I think if it's over there now, it'll be here in a minute. I was like, okay, cool. Let's wait and see the train come through. And it was really lovely.
Yeah, and the exhibition that you referenced there was in partnership with the National Film and Television Studio, which is also based in Beaconsfield. So both venues have been there for about 100 years. I think both organisations come up for their centenary over the next 5 years or so. And the partnership was brilliant this summer.
I didn't realise the model village has been there that long.
Yeah.
It's and it was like fantastic because there were some, obviously referenced in the 1930s, but there were some other parts, like the park is really up to date.
Yeah.
And
so just to explain for those listening that the village is very much set in the 1930s, so it reflects things of that time, which is really nice because that's also one of the focuses for the workshops when we have school children in to visit or home education groups, that one of the workshops is thinking about the historical nature of the village, which is really lovely. So we have our education officer has some games from the 1930s, and it's very hands-on experience before, and they have the workshop before they then go and explore the village for themselves. But you're right, you've then got it's a pirate themed play park, and that sits outside of the village. So once the children have explored the village and they can discover all of the different scenes, they can then kind of have a bit of a run around and let off some steam afterwards if they wish to.
one of the highlights that we had was going into the workshop. Was it the engine shed, the workshop room?
Yes.
And like we were small people.
Yes.
And you've got that TV screen or window, and you get this toddler coming straight up to it, and you do feel like a miniature character.
Yeah.
I just thought that was like really cool.
Yeah.
Ending to our day.
Yeah.
But it was we felt like part of the village.
Yeah, I think the idea, that's High Shrunken Junction that you're referring to there, and it's lovely. It's intended that children often are kind of small with adults, so up until that stage in their life, they have that perspective on things. So in High Shrunken Junction, it really flips that on its head, which allows the child to then, it kind of just turns things around, which is really lovely.
It was really fantastic. But tell me about the origins of Bekonscot Model Village.
Yeah, so it was set up it first opened its doors in around 1929, initially set up by Roland Callingham. He had an amazing collection of railways, and I think there's a very famously documented conversation between him and his wife that she sort of said either the railway goes or I do, kind of thing. And later on that year, he then moved the model village outside, and originally was set pretty much where the village is today, and obviously that's grown and that's been built on over the years, but there's very historical, very nostalgic feel to the village. And over the years we've had lots of very famous visitors. So Queen Elizabeth and Princess Margaret visited the village just before the Queen's 8th birthday, so we've had a lot of quite famous people that have joined us to come and explore the village as well.
Because explain to me like how this is now a charity in Roland's honour, isn't it? Yeah.
So the village is run by the Roland Callingham Foundation, and we support worthwhile charitable causes. So it's really taking the ethos of the founder forward. So every year we have a grant application process. We've actually just finished it for 2025, but for 2026, the process will be kind of relaunched and reopened again. But the idea is that the village generates a certain amount of revenue, and then from those profits, some of those profits then get given to really worthwhile causes. To date, we've donated over £21 million worth of funds to charitable causes, and that could be any kind of charity, from food banks through to schools, all sorts of different things. So this year the process was that up until I think it was the end of April, local charities had an opportunity to apply for a grant, and there's an application process that they have to go through. So they have to say what they would like, how much they would like, what they would like to do with the funds if they are successful in receiving them. That then goes through to a committee, and then those funds are awarded around the end of July time. And then, yes, so I mean, there was a number of charities that we've supported this year, and I'm sure we'll continue to do so in the future.
It's just a lovely story that this amazing tourist attraction isn't just a business. It's actually like a hub of the community, supporting all the charities.
Absolutely.
And well, that's something that I've learned in researching for this conversation.
Yeah. So, and I think it's quite a sort of quiet part to the business, but it's a very important part, and the team within the organisation are very focused and very passionate about making sure we continue that legacy of the founder to help causes as we move forward in the best way that we can.
It's just a lovely story.
Yeah.
So in terms of the Bekonscot village and the model railways and all that, it must take a huge amount of operation and maintenance.
Absolutely.
How big's the team?
So the team are kind of building and growing, but the model making team, there's about 5. So there's we actually did a recent interview with one of our model makers, Lorraine, and she creates a lot of the little people that you see all around the village. And then she's got colleagues that then look after the buildings, and they have slightly different roles and responsibilities. There's about 5 on the model side building team. But the other thing, which is really often unnoticed, is the gardeners. So I don't know how much you saw of the gardens, but they are immaculately maintained.
When we went on the train and we went round, and Florence was saying, "Oh, look at this, look at that." So I was like, "Look at the hedge. Look how lovely and straight the hedge is, and everything was green. All the flowers are out in August." And she was just like, "Yeah, all right, Dad." I was just like, but it was actually like, I did notice how lovely the scenery is.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we're really mindful of, that the village itself is also great for people with additional needs. So whereas you might have other places which are very, quite busy and quite full on, the village is always really calm and tranquil. So even when we're busy and we've got lots of visitors, by the layout and the way that it all kind of comes together, it's actually very open, it's very green, it's very peaceful, it's very calming.
It's definitely relaxing. Like we were there for quite a while, and we just come out all sort of like, oh, this is reset all of our batteries, and we're just like, like paused us for a moment and just enjoy this we're not checking phones, and the kids weren't having to do homework or all the other bits. We could just enjoy like the water that we could hear running around, and there's the greenery, and we just took a breath.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that we're really keen for is that the village generates and harnesses children's natural curiosity, because I think when they're kind of looking at all of the scenes, they see little different details in it. And I know you said with your girls, they sort of ran round initially, and I think there is almost like something about getting your bearings. But then when you kind of go back to the beginning and sort of say, oh, well, look at this scene and look at the circus, and the coal miner is a really popular one where he sort of is waving at people, and there's so many. The team have done such an incredible job about creating all of the detail into the villages and the different scenes that it kind of really enhances the children's imagination.
And the trail that we did made us look even further at the detail. And even when we were like, oh, we found
Seymour fish.
Eat for frost. So we found Seymour fish. Actually, I was just like, oh, and look, it's a proper Dunlop tyre.
Yes.
And oh, look, that's an actual car. They're not just, I'll just put it together. The detail is really special.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that was the National Film and Television Studio Partnership that you mentioned there. So what we'd had is the students from the film studio had been set the task of creating a model that might fit within Bekonscot Model Village. So the models they created were perhaps sort of a foot in size. And then what Lorraine, our on-site model maker, had done is then taken all of those designs that the team had created and the students had created, and she made smaller versions, which was the trail that you then enjoyed over the summer. And they were dotted around all over the village. So we created a treasure map, and the kids could go around and find all of the models and sort of tick them off and say where they were located and things. And yeah, it's been a really successful exhibition over the summer.
So that was the summer.
Yeah.
So now we're moving into sort of October and, dare I say, Christmas.
Yes.
what have we got coming up soon?
Yeah, so we're continually looking at ways in which we can involve the village to make sure that as people come back to see us, that the experience they have with us is different. So we have got lots of things coming up over half term and over the October time frame. So we do have things going on during sort of outside of the weekends for those who are perhaps slightly younger. So we have our toddler takeover, which is coming back on a Monday. That was hasn't been in place because of the exhibitions taken over the Norman Heaton room. But that's coming back from September. So that should be in place for the rest of the year. And that's really where we put some sort of crafts out, some different facilities for people with younger children. So we've got that coming back in from
We'll
September.
definitely get that in the daily activity planner. So in the back of the magazine.
Yes.
So we'd definitely get that highlighted.
Perfect.
Mark you down as every Monday.
Perfect.
We'll get the details for that.
That'd be lovely. Thank you. So we've got that coming back from September. And then for October half term, we've got a pumpkin treasure hunt coming through. So whilst we've got the scenes in place, we've got our ride on trains still in place. We've obviously got the model railways, all of the things that we've been talking about they're still in place. But then in addition to that, we've got a pumpkin treasure hunt, which is going to be coming into the village as well. So the children can see how many pumpkins they can spot, and we're sort of working to get that all in order as well. There's going to be some crafts as well. They're going to be on certain times, so just check the website for when those are available. But there's also going to be some crafts and activities available for children to do as well. So regardless of the weather and what's happening with that, there'll be lots to do for our visitors, especially our young explorers, when they come and see us over half term. And then going into Christmas, the village will shut kind of for on the 2nd of November. So our open 7 days a week will shut on the 2nd of November, but we will be open for the 3 weekends in November in the run up to Christmas. And then from the weekend of the 29th of November up until I think it's the 21st of December, we're going to be open for 3 weeks, and there's going to be loads going on for the Christmas festivities. We're still working out what that looks like, but last year we had a visit from Santa himself. So we had that going on. We had craft markets. We had choirs, so we're just trying to iron out the plan for this year, but definitely watch this space and check the website for full details.
And whilst we're talking about the website, I know you've got a discount for the viewers, the listeners, to come. There's a discount if they book on early.
That's it. That's correct. So if you book at least 48 hours in advance via the website, you can get 10% off your standard entry rate. So it's definitely worth checking out the website just to get yourselves, a bit organised a little bit in advance and take advantage of that. Take
advantage of the discounts. Book yourself onto all the crafts and everything that's going on, and stay up to date with what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there a mailing list? Is there a newsletter?
Absolutely, 100%. So we've got regular newsletters that go out just explaining to our visitors what's coming up, what's happening at the village, what's new, sharing a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes. So again, head to the website to sign up for that. If you scroll to the bottom of the homepage, then you can join the mailing list there.
And I come across hundreds of websites.
Yeah,
I think there should be a bit of an applause for you guys. The website is really easy to navigate.
Excellent.
It was simple to book. It's really easy to find out what's on. So there are lots of confusing websites out there. Yours is not one of them.
Excellent. I'm delighted to hear that, because that website was actually launched earlier on this year in January. So we've worked quite hard recently on getting that as simple and straightforward to use as possible. So that's good to hear.
You can tell there's been some effort put into that, because it was just simple.
Good. I'm pleased to hear that.
We could speak for hours.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you think we haven't covered and the listener viewer needs to know?
Yeah. So I think the main thing is the village is really great for people with additional needs. So whilst it's good for all visitors and everybody is always welcome, I think there's an additional notice that because of the calming nature of the village, it's really nice and wide for wheelchairs if you have wheelchair users, and that could be for grandparents with, or if you've broken your leg, or, for whatever reason. The village is really accessible for the most part. There's just one part where the pathway is a little narrow, but with a slight incline. But otherwise, it's great for people with additional needs. And I think the only other thing as well is we welcome lots of schools to the village. So whilst unquestionably sort of April, May through to July is our peak time, we do also welcome visitors during September, October, and then at the beginning of the season as well. And again, it's just a great experience for schools coming to see us, because they, as we talked about earlier, we can offer workshops for Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 for reception age as well. And our education officer does a great job in really making sure the workshops are very hands-on, that the kids are actively able to enhance their curiosity, and then they're able to just come and kind of be let loose and give a little bit of independence, because the village is so enclosed and it works really nicely. So there's lots to see and do. There's lots for all different audiences and backgrounds. So please come and see us soon.
Oh, we'll definitely be back.
Excellent.
Like when I told my wife that we were going, she was like, I can't get time off work, I can't come. I was like, well, we'll have to come back.
Definitely. That would be great. It'd be lovely to have you.
Well, thanks very much. If you want to get in touch with Sophie and the team at Bekonscot, all the notes will be, and social media links are on the bottom of the show notes. But thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having us.
You're welcome. Let's catch up in a year, see where we are there.
Lovely.
And highlight again.
Lovely.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So that's it for today's episode of Tod Talks. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you found something helpful, heartwarming, or just plain inspiring from today's chat. If you're a parent listening, I'd love to know, what do you want to hear more of? More behind the scenes with local classes, tips from experts, honest stories from fellow parents? Drop me a message at todtalks@toddleabout.co.uk. This podcast is for you, and your voice really matters. And if you're a local business helping families and thinking, I'd love to be part of this, well, you can. Get in touch and we'll have a chat about how we can shine the light on what you do and connect you with families who need you. So until next time, take care, give your little ones an extra cuddle today, and remember, we're in this together.